President Lee Jae-myung declared war against the 7 so-called abnormalities within South Korean society and directed his aides to normalize these practices?
Right, so this came during a meeting with senior aides on Friday where President Lee Jae-myung named the 7 abnormalities. So these were drug crimes, corruption in public office, voice phishing scams, illegal real estate dealings, malicious tax delinquencies, stock market manipulation, and serious industrial accidents.
I see. So walk us through the reasoning behind the selection of these specific issues and what the goals are.
Right, so let's lump them under a similar theme. So first, economic issues. So these would be illegal real estate dealings, and that's a major issue that he's been addressing since day one that he's been trying to tackle. It seems to include not only rental scams, but also abnormal dealings aimed at raising prices, such illegal speculation of farmlands and even price collusion within some online communities in certain neighborhoods.
Right.
And to that end, stock manipulations also fall in the same category of trying to stir up markets for individual financial gain.
Yes.
And President Lee said should result in, quote, the ruin of perpetrators who try to do this. The president also ordered relevant agencies to tackle the 110 trillion won bill from unpaid taxes for those who are able to pay the taxes but do not fulfill these duties. The National Tax Service, they actually plan on dispatching 500 officials for this purpose.
I see. And then there were warnings against transnational crimes.
Right, and drug crimes and voice phishing. These are the ones that fall under this roof.
Right.
So there's also a major task under the administration as that whole Cambodian scam ring that issue became a very urgent story last year, continuing on to this year.
Yes.
President Lee also addressed this during the summit with Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. last week. The president has been very stern against crimes of corruption by top officials, having to fire his own appointments for such issues.
Right.
And lastly, the administration, especially under Labor Minister Kim Young-un, he has basically staked his job on eliminating serious industrial accidents.
Right.
And there's actually a set of bills at the National Assembly. They've been stalled, but they aim to do this. And President has expressed his frustrations at the speed at which the bills are being dealt with. And he did so again during the senior aides meeting on Friday.
That's right. So thanks for breaking that down for us.
We all know gasoline and diesel prices, they've been on the up and up because of the war in Iran, the shutdown or effective shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz, which is responsible for about 20% of crude oil globally.
Right.
Gasoline and diesel prices in Seoul, they have exceeded 1,900 won range, inching really close to that 2,000 won range per liter.
Yes.
Diesel prices are now even higher than gasoline prices. So the government said that there is a possibility of price collusion or price fixing and market confusion and has launched a special inspection over certain gas stations.
Ooh.
And the Justice Ministry also announced stern actions against such price collusions, naming them serious anti-societal crimes.
I see. However, gas stations say this is not fair.
Right, so everybody has, their input on this matter because it's not just gas stations, it's the oil companies too. That's the position by the Korea Gasoline Stations Association. They issued a press release emphasizing that gas stations are not solely responsible for the rise in petrol prices.
Okay.
So they explained that gas stations are retail distributors and they get their oil wholesale from oil refineries, aka oil companies.
Right.
So they're saying that the primary cause in the increases of prices is from oil companies hiking their prices and they have no choices.
I see.
Also, gas stations are explaining that this might be more perceived increase in prices because supplies have been getting depleted at a faster rate, meaning we've seen the long lines of cars lining up at that one gas station in your neighborhood that still has 1,700 won range gasoline, right? So that is why that the cheaper gas is getting depleted relatively faster.
The King's Warden, which I saw, hit 10 million viewers.
So
cried.
you are one of the 10 and now 11 million. So historical drama The King's Warden, 왕사남, 왕과 사는 남자, reached a milestone 10 million 천만 관객 in ticket sales, a rarity in this ever tougher film industry.
Sure.
So distributor Showbox said that the tally surpassed 10 million as of 6:30 p.m. on Friday. That was a month into the release.
Yes.
So this is directed by director Jang Hang-jun, starring Yoo Hae-jin as Omungdo, who unknowingly becomes the warden of this ousted king,
Yes.
Danjong, played by Park Ji-hoon, and the bond that they build.
Right. So amazing. We haven't had like a huge hit like this in a while.
2 years, because last year, zero 천만 films. The last time that we had a 10 million movie was 2 years ago, 엑스마 파묘, and the Roundup, 범죄도시 4, back in 2024. So with this, President Lee Jae-myung congratulated the film, saying that it's even more meaningful as, again, the milestone was reached after 2 years, thanking, of course, the creator, but also the support of the people. First of all, it is director Jang Hang-jun's first 10 million film. That's his 24th year in as a film director.
Okay.
Yoo Hae-jin, of course, has multiple 10 million films under his belt, but it is the first one where he was the main character. Yoo Ji-tae, who plays the villain Han Myung-hae, because he's been in titles like Old Boy, which because it was such a rated R film, not 10 million.
Right.
So that was his very first 10 million. And the breakout star Park Ji-hoon had his first commercial feature film, 장편 영화 debut, be this 10 million hit. So it's pulling at people's heartstrings. It's retelling of history from a more human perspective.
Right.
The lesser known what happened to the young king after the coup. Critics also say this has political ties to recent events, triggering the sense of justice or injustice, and makes you think about whether the ends justify the means. By the way, to that end, the last bit here, the distributor is holding a wailing or sobbing screening. 통곡. It's not just crying. 통곡 상영회, where viewers are going to be free to sob to their heart's desire.
All right, let's talk about this mistake on the banking app Toss involving the Japanese yen.
Right, so this goes back to Tuesday of this week when this app, the finance and banking app Toss, had a glitch and sold the yen at half the actual currency rate. So that happened at 7 p.m. on the day when the yen plummeted to 472 won per 100 yen on the Toss app. On the same day, the actual trading rate was about 932 won per 100 yen.
My goodness.
So yeah, about half. And some users confirmed because some people had reservations on it that when it goes down a certain level to automatically buy. And Toss Bank said it became aware of the situation and they were able to stop the currency exchange function and things went back to normal after about 2 hours. The company said that the wrong currency rate was applied in the process of some internal checkups. They are trying to figure out the exact cause, but estimates that it lost about 10 billion won in the process.
Ooh. However, this isn't the first time that such a mistake has happened on banking apps.
And we don't even need to go far. February, last month from Hana Bank. On February 12th, here it was the Vietnamese dong that was posted at 1/10. 10분의 1 of the trading rate for about 3 minutes. But again, if you had automatic buy options, you went right in. And people did exchange the money. However, in this particular case with Hana Bank, under the Electronic Financial Transactions Act, all of these transactions can and were canceled.
The financial authorities have launched an inspection against Toss following this fluke, right?
Of course. So the Financial Supervisory Service, or the FSS, launched an on-site inspection of Toss yesterday.
Yes.
The FSS will look into the exact cause, the extent of the damages, and discuss canceling the transactions and even possibly customer compensations for Toss.
Right. So if we look back to precedents that's already been set, Toss, in theory, will get the money back, no?
Okay. What's interesting is the ratio, the amount. So according to some in the financial industry, nothing's official. The Hana Bank's incident, 1/10 was such an obvious error. Just it was, common sense wise, the currency of a major country with a stable economy will not plummet to 1/10 of what it is in a matter of minutes.
Okay.
But half?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, that would be rare. That would be a crisis, but, not completely out of the realm of imagination. So it is arguable and it may warrant compensations. Always to what extent? But again, overall in the banking industry, the fact that this is the second time that it's happened in a month, a span of a month, that's a problem. Raising concerns about how far these glitches can go and have real life ramifications.
Thank you. We'll check in with you tomorrow, Haley.
Bye-bye.